As an empath who was targeted by a narcissist, you were forced to see your empathy as a curse, when in reality, it is a blessing. You were programmed to see yourself as a stupid person who intentionally lets other people walk all over them. But what if I tell you none of that is true? What if I tell you you are gifted, that you have superpowers a narcissist can only dream of having? Don't believe me? Let me prove it to you in this episode. I am Danish, a trauma therapist, a psychologist, and a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. The topic for today's episode is clear. 5 superpowers you possess as an empath that a narcissist can never ever have. If that sounds interesting and you're eager to find out your superpowers, please consider subscribing before we get started with number 1, because your subscription may help in spreading awareness about narcissistic abuse. Number 1, you have the ability to uplift people. Your presence is soothing, calming, and it brings in safety. You know how to heal others. That does not mean you are a grandiose narcissist who believes they're godlike. No, you just know how to share space with another soul who needs some presence, who needs to feel connection, who has been craving for it. Partly because you were raised by a narcissist and you had to become a caretaker for them, and you know exactly what to do to make another soul feel comfortable. Also because this is who you are. This is what you chose back then, and even before you were born. This is what your soul is all about. But look at the narcissist. They bring in nothing but chaos into every space they become a part of. They only think about themselves. They can't bring any peace to anybody. It is just the opposite. Of course, covert narcissists want to be seen as empath, or who are kind, who are special, who are altruistic, who want to be there for others. But the truth is, it's only a mask. There is no authenticity to it. There is no congruity to be found there. And they do it all for attention, yet you do not do it. You know deep down that that's who you are, and there is no secondary gain from it. Whenever you choose to share that space, you honor it, you honor them, and they feel the energetic shift, which a narcissist cannot create. It's not an artificial thing. You may also have a healing touch. As a child, I thought I was crazy because I could feel other people's pain in my physical body, especially with my mother, who now is a covert narcissist. I know it. But back then I was enmeshed with her, and I would tell her, do you feel some pain in your arm? Is your leg hurting? And it would always be a yes, not only with her, but others as well. Then I would put my hands on that body part and transfer that pain into my body. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Back then I could not understand what was going on, but truly this is the raw experience. My leg or arm would start paining, and my mother or somebody else would feel the relief almost instantly. So that's another thing. Do you relate with that? Have you experienced something like this? Let me know in the comments. Number 2, you have a strong sense of intuition, a literal intuition. Sometimes you may have visions that you can't explain. It's not something that you see with your physical eyes, but you have those visions. It's not just a feeling, it's not a felt sense, but it's almost like a thing that you know. It's your gut telling you. The same thought comes to you again and again. You see it in your dreams. You may be doing something and you may zone out and have a total vision. That is what is called a literal intuition, an intuition that speaks to you clearly, loudly, because you are strongly connected with it. Unfortunately, that is what a narcissist targets later on, but that is your superpower. They rely on you. They rely on reading your emotions to target you so that they can abuse you, which makes them a slave of their own false self. But you don't depend on that. You have your radar within yourself. You have a reader within you that you need to rely on, that you need to build a deep connection with. Superpower number 3, you are a problem solver. They are a problem creator. You are a creative solution finder. You exactly focus on the bigger perspective. You don't get stuck with the problem. Of course, trauma has created a pattern of hyperfixation for you. Maybe it's difficult for you to think clearly now, but that is a temporary thing. Without this trauma, you know exactly how to resolve conflicts, you know how to navigate situations. You can be all the different people that you're dealing with, not in a narcissistic way. It's not like you mirror them. No, you can step into this person's shoes, into that person's shoes, to truly understand their perspective and come up with a holistic solution, something that everybody can adapt to and something that can be applied to all those who are involved. So you know how to run the systems. Obstacles are not obstacles for you, but they are the ways for you to navigate a problem properly and more strategically. Number 4, you are a visionary leader. While a narcissist pretends to be one, you have actual leadership qualities. Don't believe me? Well, look at all the people who have found guidance and wisdom in you. You have led them to the path of healing. You have given them answers that they were finding for a long time. Where does that come from? Your inner wisdom. You know how to lead, but what you need to learn is how to be firm at the same time. Because sometimes you can be too good, and that's what they take advantage of. You have to have personal boundaries, which means having boundaries with yourself before having them with anybody else. You have to have a set of non-negotiables to know what you are and what you're not ready for settling with. And you need to know exactly when to say no without feeling guilty. Being nice is okay, but when you're being overly nice, that simply means it's a trauma response. And unfortunately, there is always a balance in nature. If there is good, there is going to be bad as well. If there is a blessing, there is going to be a curse as well. If there is a gift, there is going to be a burden as well. You have to find your balance. You have to do the work, and that is how we become better. Number 5, you can fall deeply and madly in love with a person, and you have the capacity to spend the rest of your life with them. Now, this may sound like a generalization, which is why I have to say it's not applicable to every empath out there. You may not be this type, but this is also a quality, a superpower, to stay that committed, to stay loyal. Again, which is not to say that being too committed is the only sign of having empathy. Let's not draw those conclusions. What I'm saying is you have the superpower to not to chase novelty, because you see, the truth is when you get married to somebody, things get old, or let's say, for the lack of a better word, boring with time. So as a human being, you have this tendency to look for something nice outside, but you as an empath can come back to the same old thing and depend on it. What is that? The soul connection with the other person. Body does not matter to you as much as does the soul. That's why you're so authentic, and that's what a narcissist does not have. They can never have. All of this is a collective gift. You need to take responsibility for it. You have to become your true self by healing all of the wounds that stop you from being one, and you have to also help uplift the collective. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.